Today we're gonna fully explain every Pokemon type, not just the type chart but also any special effects the types have. We start with the normal type, the Pokemon equivalent to normal animals. Normal has the smallest list of weaknesses, resistances, and immunities. The normal type is only weak to fighting. This is because a martial artist is likely to beat up your average Joe. However, the normal type doesn't have any resistances. Since they don't specialize in magic, they wouldn't resist it either. And for immunities, normal is immune to damage-dealing ghost moves. However, status ghost type moves can still affect normal types. The mortal and ghost worlds cannot often interact, but a ghost can still do things like curse someone. Next up is Sinnoh's favorite type, the fire type. Fire is weak to water, ground, and rock. Water douses fire, dirt can put out fire, and rocks block fire from spreading. Fire resists itself, grass, ice, bug, steel, and fairy. Fire because when you fight fire with fire, you just get more fire. Plants, ice, bug, and metal are often easily burned or melted by intense heat. And fairies are connected to nature, which fire can destroy. As for special effects, fire types are immune to being burned. A creature who embodies fire should easily resist it. But what's funny is that fire wasn't always immune to being burned. In Gen 2, they were only immune to it when hit with a fire move, meaning that Tri-Attack could actually burn a fire type. Fire types also get a power boost in harsh sunlight, since things are easier to set on fire during extreme heat. But fire moves are weaker in rain since the rain douses the fire. Now for the type with the most amount of Pokemon, water. Water is only weak to grass and electric. Plants absorb water and water conducts electricity. Well, pure water doesn't, but about any body of water won't be pure water. Water resists fire, itself, ice, and steel. Have fun trying to set the ocean on fire. Adding water to water just gives you more water. Ice is just frozen water, and water will eventually rust most metals. Water moves get a boost in rain since there's more water to power them, but in harsh sunlight, the water vaporizes, making their attacks weaker. Next is the grass type, a type that's frankly a thorn on my side. Grass is weak to fire, ice, poison, flying, and bug. Fire, extreme cold temperatures, and toxins can kill plant life, and some birds and bugs eat seeds and plants. Grass resists water, itself, electric, and ground. Plants absorb water and the nutrients of fertile soil. Planting a tree in a forest will just get you more trees, and wood isn't a good conductor of electricity. Grass types are immune to leech seed, powder moves, and spore moves. Again, adding plants to plants just makes more plants. And grassy terrain heals because touching grass does the body good. Now it's time to feel some sparks with the electric type. Electric is only weak to ground. Lightning rods work by dispersing the lightning into the ground. Electric resists itself, flying, and steel. Adding lightning to lightning just creates more lightning. Air cannot push back against lightning, and as alluded to, metal rods attract lightning. Like how fire types can be burned, electric types can be paralyzed. Aside from Gen 2 where Tri-Attack can paralyze electric types. This includes from non-electric moves like Body Slam, and electric terrain prevents sleep because electricity energizes. Next up is the ice type, filled with Pokemon based on frosty legends, like the Abominable Snowman, Santa Claus, or an ice cream cone. What? Ice cream is pretty legendary if you ask me. Ice is weak to fire, fighting, rock, and steel. Fire melts ice, a superhuman can punch through ice, and a large rock or metal tool can break ice. Ice has the least amount of resistances, excluding normal, only resisting itself. Cause if you throw a pile of snow onto snow, you just get more snow. Ice types cannot be frozen, aside from Tri-Attack in Gen 2, are immune to sheer cold, and between Gens 3 and 8, took no damage from hail, but with Snowscape replacing hail, they get a defense boost instead. Now for the super-powered fighting type. Fighting is weak to flying, psychic, and fairy. These have to do with how much a traditional fighter would struggle. It doesn't matter how much physically stronger you are. If your opponent is aerial or can blow you away with a gust of wind, lift you off the ground or push you back with their mind, or ignore the rules of combat with magic, you're gonna struggle. Fighting resists bug, rock, and dark. There's not much a bug could do to a superhuman. The superhuman would simply break the rock, and a superhero wouldn't be scared of the dark. Now that's the Western explanation. But remember that the dark type is the evil type in Japan, so fighting resists dark because heroes beat villains. Next up is the poison type, which is frankly the most toxic type. Poison is weak to ground and psychic. Toxins can slightly be dispersed in the ground, and with a healthy mind, you're likely to stay in good health. Poison resists grass, fighting, itself, bug, and fairy. Plants die when exposed to toxins. Even a superhero can be poisoned. Poison plus poison equals more poison. Pesticides are used to kill bugs. And fairies are connected to nature, so toxins affect them too. Poison types cannot be poisoned and nullify toxic spikes. Again, you add poison to poison, you just get more poison. But also, in Gens 1 and 2, Tornado could poison a poison or steel type. Now for the grounded ground type. Ground is weak to water, grass, and ice. Water will cause the ground to become softer and weaker. Plants will eat up the nutrients within soil, possibly leaving it infertile. And snow will cover dirt, melt, become water, and then make the ground soft. Ground resists poison and rock. As said earlier, the earth can kind of nullify toxins, and the ground is partially made of rocks. Ground is also immune to offensive and status electric moves. As said before, lightning rods work by taking lightning into the ground. Ground types also take no damage from sandstorm. A sandstorm is just fancy dirt in the air after all. Next up is the flying type. Man, someone should base a team on the flying type. That'd be neat. Flying is weak to electric, ice, and rock. Lightning can zap a bird or plane out of the sky. Extreme cold can make it hard for anything to fly. And as the old saying goes, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Flying resists grass, fighting, and bug. Many bird species eat plants or bugs and perch on trees, and you're gonna have a hard time punching something that's in the air. Flying types are also immune to ground type moves. They do have the high ground after all, but apparently not high ground enough for sand attack. Flying types are also immune to non-stealth rock entry hazards, and are not affected by terrains. Now it's time to gaze into the future with the psychic type. Psychic is weak to bug, ghost, and dark. Bugs, ghosts, and the dark are some of the most common fears, which would weaken someone's concentration. But remember that the dark type is the evil type in Japan. So the Eastern explanation is that if you read the mind of an evil person, you may find yourself disturbed by what you find. Psychic resists fighting and itself. With psychic powers, you can lessen the power of a punch. And as a psychic yourself, you'll know what another psychic could do. Psychic terrain prevents priority moves from being used. Similar to Trick Room, a psychic can affect how movements work. Next up is the creepiest and crawliest type, the bug type. Bug is weak to fire, flying, and rock. Bugs are easy to burn, the early bird gets the worm, and a bug could be crushed by a rock, which can't easily be burrowed. Bug resists grass, flying, and ground. Most bugs eat plants, you'll have a hard time punching a bug, and unlike rocks, dirt can easily be burrowed. Now is the type I honestly have a rocky relationship with, the rock type. Rock is weak to water, grass, fighting, ground, and steel. Rocks can be eroded by water, plants can break out of stone structures, and a superhuman, earthquakes, and metal tools can all break stone. Rock resists normal, fire, poison, and flying. While a superhuman could break through stone, an ordinary one cannot. Rocks are used to contain fires, and a similar thing could be done with toxins. And no matter how much the wind howls, the mountain cannot bow to it. Rock types don't take sandstorm damage and get a special defense boost from it, since the sandstorm is just giving them more materials to work with. Next up is the spooky and scary ghost type. Ghost is weak to itself and dark. A ghost can easily hurt another ghost, and dark magic can corrupt the dead. Ghost resists poison and bug. You can't exactly poison something that's already dead. And bugs are mortal beings, albeit with some magic and Pokemon. For the other mortal beings, Ghost is immune to normal and fighting. Though normal type status moves like Leer can still affect them, you can't punch a ghost even if you're a black belt. Ghost types can also not be prevented from switching or fleeing. Since ghosts are intangible, you can't force them to stay somewhere. Now for the Dragon type, which some describe as incredibly talented. Dragon is weak to ice, itself, and fairy. Dragons are reptiles, meaning cold temperatures would affect them. Dragons are so powerful, often only another dragon can hurt them. And in fairy tales, dragons tend to be the villains, getting slain in the end. Dragon resists fire, water, grass, and electric. Dragons are masters of the elements, therefore resist the main ones. Next is the Dark type, or the evil type in Japan. Dark is weak to fighting, bug, and fairy. Fighting types are heroic, many superheroes are based on bugs, and the villain always loses in fairy tales. Dark resists ghost and itself. A dark magician can use their magic to take control over the dead, and a conniving villain knows an underhanded tactic when they see it. Dark is immune to damage-dealing psychic moves. Mental attacks won't work on someone who loves to mess with people, though unexpected tricks like hypnosis could still work. Dark types are also immune to status moves from a prankster user. As said earlier, a villain knows an underhanded move when they see it. Now for the hard as iron, Steel type. Steel is weak to fire, fighting, and ground. Extreme heat can melt steel, a man of steel can punch through metal, and a powerful earthquake can destroy metal constructions. Steel resists anything it's not weak to, immune to, or 4 other types. For what steel resists is from metal being hard for them to damage. But steel doesn't resist water, electric, ghost, and dark. Water can rust metal, but it takes a long time to do so. Metal is used as a conductor for electricity, but the metal isn't harmed. And ghost and dark magic can simply go through the metal. Steel is immune to damage-dealing poison moves and being poisoned. Metals are commonly used to contain acids and toxins. Steel also doesn't take damage from sandstorm. Steel buildings and deserts are able to handle sandstorms. Finally is the newest type, which is over 10 years old now. The Fairy type. Fairy is weak to poison and steel. Toxins can destroy nature, which fairies are connected to. And in mythologies, man-made metals are a fairy's weakness. Fairy resists fighting, bug, and dark. Magic can weaken the blow from a fighter. Fairies tend to have bug-like qualities, so they know what a bug can do. And the good magic of a fairy can weaken and purify dark magic. Finally, Fairy is immune to damage-dealing dragon moves. Dragon is almost a chaos type, so again, fairy magic can purify it. Misty terrain prevents status conditions, going back to the purity aspect. And there you have it, folks. Every Pokemon type explained. What did you think about my explanations? Do you think they made sense? Or do you have a better explanation for certain aspects of the type chart? Let me know in the comments below. And become a member if you're interested. It's only $2 a month. Have a nice day, you wonderful people. Bonus type. There's actually a secret type known as the triple question mark type, and there are actually moves and Pokemon for this type, technically. Prior to Gen 6, Curse was triple question mark type before being made into a ghost move, making Struggle the only remaining triple question mark move. But of course, Pokemon don't exactly learn Struggle. And interestingly enough, Struggle was actually normal type in Gen 1. Earlier Mystery Dungeon games actually had TMs for triple question mark type moves, though they were moves that always did a set amount of damage. For Pokemon eggs were actually triple question mark type in Gen 3 only. There's a triple question mark type Arceus form who's only obtainable through cheats, and if a mono fire or flying type uses burn up or roost respectively, they'll become triple question mark type until they're switched out or knocked out. The triple question mark type is completely neutral against all other types, having no weaknesses, resistances, or immunities, and offensively, it cannot do super effective or resisted damage.